Hello, listeners. There's a trigger warning. The trigger warning is for repetitious content in philosophy. So today we are going to be talking about demons and torturers and hypothetical torture and pain that doesn't exist. Because guess what? Whenever they can't think of a table, philosophers think of a torturing demon. So bear that in mind. If torturing demons are something you don't want to hear about, go back and listen to a nice episode about picking flowers or something instead.
I think the picking flowers episode is more depressing than all of our other episodes because it's all about the inevitable collapse of our ecosystem.
Oh yeah, the episode with the thought experiment where you said, Steve, you're the only person living on Earth. All other life has been completely exterminated.
And then you decide to blow the whole Earth up the second that you die.
I didn't blow the whole Earth up.
No, you didn't actually.
I was a good boy.
You were a good boy.
Because of panspermia.
Of course, how could I forget panspermia?
Yeah. Well, imagine the panspermia series of DVDs produced in the 2000s. Jizz rocks from space.
Okay.
Starring Jenna Jameson. Just to date them.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but I didn't need to.
Very famous 90s porn star. One of the people who crossed over from porn celebrity to real celebrity.
Oh, good for her. Yeah. Transmedia character, to go back to the MJ Hibbert episode.
Oh yeah, because it probably wasn't her real name. Hello, listeners who are not scared of hypothetical torture. Welcome to Philosophy Playdate. My name is Steve. I have once produced children, which means that definitely have had sex. It's the number one indicator. And you're like, well, actually, there's a number of ways to have children. If you saw my children, you would, in the words of a man on an Irish beach, shout, at least you know they're yours, mate. I'm also a comedian, which is why I say things that make my co-presenter laugh. But co-presenter, you ask? What kind of co-presenter would this podcast have? Well, what if I told you I've got the co-presenter who can just calmly take on any question the human race has ever asked, no matter how arch the undergraduate exam question is. Christabel could smash it into a million pieces. It's Christabel. Hello, Christabel. How are you?
I'm so well. I think for the first time, I'm going to be introducing the question today.
No, you have before.
Oh, have I? Okay,
yeah.
I forget. Well, I'm doing it today as well. In that case,
one of the things you need to know about podcasts is at some point you get super fans who listen to every episode and write down things that happened in it. So there'll be someone listening who's going, actually, Christabel has introduced the question 7 times in the previous 19 episodes.
Oh, pedantry. Well, of course they'd be listening to a philosophy podcast.
They're not pedants, they're archivists.
Oh, okay.
And they're incredibly useful. If you are that kind of listener, email me. I need you. We used to have one for Chaotic Adequate, and he was amazing because Gregory could just go, have they fought any trolls? And he'd email our archivist. And the archivist would go, yes, in episode 23, you introduced a troll.
Oh my goodness, worth this weight in gold.
Yeah, well, especially if you've got to do continuity.
Yeah, of course. There's not a lot of continuity in philosophy, really. There's a lot of cyclical, us figuring things out and then forgetting that we figured them out. Often when it's a woman who's figured something out, often when it's a woman logician who's figured something out. And then 50 years later, people come along and say, oh, do you know, there's this thing that we should have figured out by now. Oh, yeah, we did. Ruth Barker Marcus did it. Anyway,
all I want to say is, women, have you tried being as obnoxiously arrogant and self-promoting as men?
I'm going to try. I'll do it for the girls.
This is what we're going to try and create, a generation of women philosophers who are as bad as man philosophers.
Hello.
Out on the street, asking people, but how do you know that you are alive?
Oh, no. I don't want to usher in this age. I know what order you eat your roast dinner in. This is because of a conversation that we've recently had. Also, listeners, just to clarify, this is the order I used to eat roast dinners in before I was A, vegetarian, and B, in charge of making the roast dinner. Okay, yes, good point. Well made. I thought that your ordering was the objectively correct ordering. Actually, maybe you could just recount it. Ordering.
Okay, so when I was a kid, this is the order that you eat a traditional roast dinner in. Number 1, green crap. That is like your entry fee to the theme park. You have to pay eating the green crap to get to the rest of it. Get on the rides. So you get through that, just like shovel it in as fast as you can, get it done. Next, carrots, an acceptable vegetable. Next, peas, the best vegetable. Also the most popular vegetable with all children. I went to a lovely talk where someone had asked loads of kids about fruits and vegetables and which ones they like and which one they don't, and graphed it. And they graphed it against the calorie density. So pea with kids is the most popular vegetable. It's also the most calorie dense vegetable.
Oh, no.
Banana is the most popular fruit. Banana is the most calorie dense fruit.
Oh, no.
No, but this is evolutionarily, this makes loads of sense.
Yeah, I guess.
If you were pre-civilized humans, imagine Berkshire. Pre-civilized humans, and you're out and you just find a load of plants. Evolutionarily, you should eat the ones that have got the most food in them.
Yeah.
So peas, right? Peas.
I didn't know that.
Then potatoes. Then the meat. Then Yorkshire puddings if available.
Yeah.
Always with the Yorkshires last. Best bit by miles.
Yeah. Even if they've gotten a little bit soggy.
They're soggy with gravy, which just adds flavour, so it's fine.
Yeah. Do you put butter on your Yorkshire pudding?
You wouldn't notice it under the half ton of gravy that's on them.
I see, of course.
Like they are already very lonely ships in a very wide sea. Adding a bit more liquid's not going to make much difference.
I see, right. Well, it seems very much like you've done your preference ordering according to the principle that I think we're going to be exploring today, which is saving the best till last.
Yeah, just basic knowledge of things. I would have said it's objectively correct. Listeners, if you eat a roast dinner in a different order to that, seek professional help. If I used to work with someone and we would have we had a fancy cafe at work and he would have a roast dinner, and what he would do is cut everything up and then he'd have a forkful of everything over and over again. It would have a bit of green, a bit of potato, a bit of meat. So every forkful was the same.
Well, you ruin all of the good things by eating them with the bad things.
Yeah.
You've got to be very intentional about, I know I've got a good thing on the fork and a less good thing on the fork, but the good thing is making the less good thing better. You've got to frame it that way.
It's better to just get the less good thing done.
Yeah, eat all of the cabbage when you're max hungry. Eat the frog. Well, I want to be returning to Eat the Frog later in the episode.
Oh yeah, I'm going to return to how ADHD people can't eat the frog.
You can't eat the frog?
Well, it's a thing that prevents ADHD people doing things is the maxim of eat the frog first. So listeners, eat the frog means if you've got two things that you need to do, write an essay, play Sniper Elite Resistance. If you're neurotypical, the thing to do is write the essay and reward yourself with Sniper Elite Resistance. ADHD people, we will just never write the essay if we do it that way around. We have to play Sniper Elite Resistance to give us the energy to write that essay. So we have the maxim, eat the cake first.
Oh, I see. You need to give yourself the motivation points. I see. I'm kind of struggling with eating the frog at the moment. I'm in that thesis stage of really...
I'll make you a lovely vegetarian frog if you want.
Oh, okay. That would be nice. Thanks. Much, much appreciated. I believe two siblings in my family were having a conversation about one of them saving the best till last. I think it was the potatoes until last, and the other one couldn't quite understand. I think it was the younger one. I don't think you immediately work out that you should save the best till last as a child. Do you see that with your children?
My children only ever eat one thing at a time.
I see.
So dinner will just be pasta or chips or corn nuggets or pizza or...
You can apply this principle to other things, though. Activities. If there's a choice between two activities and you have to do two, would they choose to do the one that they enjoy the least first?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever had that sort of choice.
Don't do experiments.
I
don't like that way of parenting.
Sometimes there's a forced one. You can't watch your movie until you tidy up the living room.
Of course.
But they wouldn't choose that. They would just watch the movie and leave the living room messy.
The objectively correct response to that sort of ultimatum. Yeah, well done. Well, I immediately seized on this question because it seems to be symptomatic of a number of temporal biases that we seem to have.
Oh, yeah.
And it also seems to be in direct competition to a number of other well-documented temporal biases that we also seem to have. So I thought that I could spend the episode going through these different biases. I want to ask whether they resonate with you. You kind of recognize yourself in these biases.
Yes.
Also, I would be really interested to hear if anybody has wildly different kinds of biases than the ones that I talking about today.
And listeners, if you've got wildly different biases, write in. We'll diagnose you. We'll recommend somebody.
I'm really interested in how the human mind interacts with living in a sort of inevitably temporal existence.
Yeah.
Or even just the conscious animal mind, right? Because it's kind of unavoidable that temporal passage marches on. And these temporal biases in some ways seem to be a sort of coping mechanism with dealing with the inevitability of like the passage of time. But I guess like all coping mechanisms, they seem to be maladaptive in a lot of cases as well. And philosophers don't just discuss these biases, but what they really like to do is discuss whether or not they're rational.
Right.
Whether you as a rational agent have like a duty to suppress or maybe nurture these particular biases. I'm going to be thinking about these biases with this corollary question in mind, which is like, do we have good reasons for following this practice of saving the best till last, or should we get rid of it?
Can you quickly define corollary? Because in my head it means...
Maybe I'm using the word wrong.
Somewhat like a Toyota.
Like, I'm just using it in like the sense of adjacent.
Okay.
But I might be using
it's a thing that's next to it.
No,
it's just because it's a word we've not used before, and I'm sure that 50% of the time that listeners read it, it's being used incorrectly. So it's hard to know what the real...
Maybe I'm in that 50% of the time. I'm going to begin with the bias that I think is most obvious and intuitive that we have, and it's called future bias. I'm going to say the most about the future bias as well. And to get a handle on future bias, I would like to introduce us to our first thought experiment. It comes from Derek Parfit. You wake up, Steve, and you're feeling pretty groggy. You can't really remember what's happened before.
Have I transformed into a bug?
You haven't transformed into a bug. Good. I'm so sorry. You could have done if you like. It actually doesn't change the framing of the thought experiment that much. If you want to imagine that, you can imagine that. And an attendant is beside you.
Oh, that's nice.
And they tell you that you are now the subject of an experiment.
Okay, good.
And the experiment involves torturing you and then force feeding you a pill that induces amnesia.
Right.
Now, you are currently chained up in the atrium to the torture room.
Yeah.
And the attendant says this means, well, either you're about to go into the torture room or we're just taking you out of the torture room.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to have the torturing and drugging in your future?
No.
Or would you... Yeah.
But this is a very real thing, because I don't fully know how general anaesthetic works. And there's a very small chance that it's really just an amnesiac thing. It knocks you out and you do feel everything, but you don't remember.
Oh, you're not unconscious whilst the torturing is happening.
Okay. No, but
you're conscious while the torturing is happening.
Part of my thing is that there's even a chance that under general anaesthetic, you feel all the pain and it just wipes your memory of it. So
that's
maybe
terrifying.
I know, listeners, this is the most terrifying thing I thought about this week. I was just sitting on a bus thinking, I wonder if general anaesthetic, you can actually...
Do you think the trauma would leave a lasting impact on you, even though you didn't you'd wake up and you'd feel not quite right?
This is exactly what I was worrying about on the bus. Like, because you can go, oh, well, it was a different me. There was a different me existed for that period and he was wiped and now it's only me. But will there be traces of him?
I think there almost couldn't not be.
Terrifying. Right. I want the torturing in my past, thank you.
Okay, good. Right. That means that you are future biased. You prefer good things to be in your future and other bad things to be in your past.
I don't know if I'm future biased. I'm just like, get it over with.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Anti-biased, rather. I'm not like, oh, the future, lovely. But I'm just like, oh, get it over with.
Let me return to this idea of there being an asymmetry between the future and the past. I think what you're talking about is actually it's slightly different bias, but we can come back to this.
Yeah. We've all done terrible things in our past and we can forgive ourselves. But the idea of thinking, I will do a terrible thing tomorrow, we're like, I must not do a terrible thing tomorrow. That would be unforgivable.
Yes, very good, because you discount the value of things that have happened in your past and you emphasize the value of things that will happen in your future.
Yeah, you have to, because otherwise you'd go insane from all the terrible things that we've all done.
Yeah, exactly. There are two flavors of future bias. Mm-hmm. One is strong, one is weak. To show you the difference, I'm going to borrow another example from Derek Parfit, but it's going to be slightly less malevolent.
Parfit, like pitching a no-hitter so far. He's doing great.
Okay. You wake up and you're in a hospital.
Yeah.
But you're also feeling groggy.
Yeah.
And this time it's a lovely nurse who tells you what your situation is. And they tell you that you are in for a particular surgery. Mm-hmm. Now, the literature for this kind of philosophy abounds with cases of painful surgeries where you have to be awake for the surgery.
Yeah.
Maybe it requires your cooperation. Maybe it's an eye surgery, something like that. Brain, yeah, absolutely. Like painful, maybe both emotionally painful and physically painful procedure. Actually, it doesn't have to be emotionally painful. Yeah. Now, the nurse tells you that, again, you're in the atrium for the theatre, the surgery theatre, and that means that you've either just had surgery or you're just about to have surgery. But they tell you more information. Mm-hmm. The surgery that has just happened, they say, I've never heard of this surgery lasting for so long. It was a full 10 hours, and I am led to believe that the patient was in excruciating pain throughout those 10 hours. Yeah. But the person that is just about to have surgery, their surgery is guaranteed to last only an hour. It might even be slightly less painful. Which would you prefer?
And I don't remember.
You're groggy, you're a bit confused, you're either about to go in or you've just come out.
I think I still prefer it being in the past.
Yeah.
Because part of my brain is always worried about, even in the 1 hour surgery, I might die. There's always a risk of dying when you're having surgery. So having had the thing done and survived it and not being in pain now seems to me better, even if it went a bit.
What if I could guarantee you that you'll survive? Does that make any difference? Really try and...
I'm like, I can see the different values that you're offering me, but still, I just think having got it done is such a big deal to me that I'd still rather have got it done and it went terribly and all that, but I don't remember any of it now, than still have it in the future.
I think that's fair. You're strongly future biased in that case.
Yeah.
You would choose not only under a condition of equality, but you would choose worse aggregate overall in order to satisfy the preference of having the bad things in the past and the better things in the future.
Yeah. Well, in all of my life, I'm very get it done.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
actually
very project focused. I'm very outcome focused. I'm very obsessed with the thing that is out there is better than the perfect thing which never comes out. Get it done.
Yeah, I really see that for you. So the question is it rational to prefer a worse aggregate overall so long as you can get the bad things over? Or is it more rational to only use it as a tiebreaker if you're given two sort of like qualitatively identical options? You would go for the like least painful and the most pleasurable, but if one has more pleasure in the future, you kind of go for that one. It only becomes salient within your decision-making process once you've got this condition of equality. And the same goes for all biases that I'll mention. All of them come in weak and strong forms.
Do any of them come in naive forms?
Ooh,
our favourite form of philosophy.
Arguably, you could call...
Is Derek Parfit alive? The most efficient way to have your philosophy labelled naive is to die. That's what I always think. Whenever we do naive philosophy, it's always someone who's dead. And we never call someone who's alive a naive philosopher.
Oh, 2017, aged 74 years. R.I.P. Derek Parfit.
It's pretty good. Did he die during a really complicated operation that massively overran? Just lying there. Curse irony!
So I think the save the best until last intuition could plausibly be an instance of this future bias, because I think saving the best till last could be read as trying to keep the good experiences in your future for as long as possible a time.
Yep.
I think it's quite a cognitively significant thing that you've got to be able to do, because you've got to have a temporal awareness, and then you've also got to be you've got to know yourself well enough to know that you're going to have these persisting preferences.
Yeah.
You've got to sort of play the tape forward, as we often say.
You've got to be able to imagine future you after the meal being like, I really enjoyed that because they finished it with something delicious, rather than future you being like, I just ploughed through half a plate of boiled cabbage. I don't even remember the good things because my lasting, lingering sensation is bleh.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
Just don't put the cabbage on the plate, listeners. Just have a vitamin pill. Just have potatoes, vegetarian meat substitute, Yorkshire puddings, gravy, vitamin pill. Done.
I don't think I do that with food. I think if I give myself the tasty thing first, I just don't eat the non-tasty thing.
Yeah.
But I think I do that with work, where I'll watch my partner play the video games, and then I'll have to do
What's
the boring
Christabel
admin.
playing at the moment?
Well, we tried the Spider-Man 2 thing.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think that there was enough of a strong narrative. I didn't really get into the narrative. We just finished the James Bond one. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
That had a good narrative. Maybe the Spider-Man thing will become more narrative driven later.
I'm playing the aforementioned Sniper Elite Resistance, which is a lot of shooting Nazis from a long distance, but it's also extremely graphic. Like when you shoot someone, you see the bullet go into their head and blood sprays everywhere. And
does it happen in slow motion?
yeah, so my children walk in just as I'm executing a Nazi from 200 meters, and I have to slap a hand over their eyes so they can't see what's happening. Dad, why are you playing a game where you're killing people? I'm like, it's Nazis. Like the only people that it is acceptable to shoot from 200 meters before they know you're there.
I think that's a good parental lesson to hammer home into the...
Don't be a Nazi.
Yeah.
I think it's ethics 101, isn't it?
I think so. Hammer it into the impressionable minds.
At King's College London. This is your very first philosophy lecture. Let's just get one thing out of the way. Don't be a Nazi. That's your first ethics lesson.
Okay, so we've got these temporal value asymmetries, discounting what happens in the past, emphasizing what happens in the future. And
because people say, the past is the past.
They do.
But when they say the future is the future,
they're not just making a tautologist statement, are they?
No,
it's not
that's
just.
Why I did the voice.
Indeed. Yeah. And you did some great facial expressions as well, which perfectly matched the voice, listeners. You'll have to believe me.
Yeah, listeners, you just have to imagine the most ruggedly handsome face I've ever seen doing expressions. She's laughing because it's true.
So these preferences seem to be really robustly findable within in-between person comparisons.
Yep.
I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean in a sec. But there were these studies done by Eugene Caruso, Daniel Gilbert, and Timothy Wilson, who asked participants to identify appropriate compensation for things. So compensation for themselves and compensation for a friend of theirs. People were asked, imagine that your friend lends you their holiday home for a particular holiday.
Oh, I've got some fancy friends.
You have. And when people were told that their visit to their friend's holiday place was in the future, the bottle of wine that they bought their friend in compensation was 37% more expensive than if they'd been told that they'd already gone on the holiday at their friend's place. So they valued the future trip more than the past trip.
This is very odd. Whoever they did this experiment on, very odd.
Like very middle class people, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, your friend's holiday home in Cornwall or Mallorca. Where do people have holiday homes?
I think either way, it's a £40 bottle of wine. £40.
Well, that's because I'm not doing the experiment on you in the same way.
Course, but just I'm very rules based as part of my ADHD management. I have a lot of systems and numbers and things in place. So that would be £40 bottle of wine. Here are my set of rules. You go into somebody's house for a party, £15 bottle of wine. You're buying somebody something that is the most fancy thing they would normally buy themselves, £25 bottle of wine. Mm-hmm. I don't know people that regularly buy £40 bottles of wine. So a £40 bottle of wine it's your birthday. I think you're amazing. I'm giving you a bottle of wine that is sufficiently fancy that you don't feel any pressure to open it and drink it with me. The £40 bottle of wine is yours to take away and keep for a secret.
That seems extremely reasonable.
To keep for a special occasion, right?
Yeah, when I was drinking by myself, a £40 bottle of wine would have been unthinkable.
Yeah.
They were also asked to imagine that they'd agreed to perform some boring data entry work. And then they were asked to figure out what an appropriate level of compensation would be. And people consistently awarded themselves more money if they thought the work was in the future versus they'd already done the work.
Oh, so this is again interesting. As a freelancer, I just have a rate card.
Yes, very sensible.
So I don't think about things. I just tell you a number. And past, future, next year, this year, whatever, you get the same number because I've got a rate card.
Well, that's very, very sensible if you're doing work as a freelancer a lot. You don't want to get emotional about your rate. That seems like a really silly thing to do.
Yeah. And I don't want to negotiate, right? You pay the rate and I do the work. If you want to pay less than the rate, get someone else. No, that seems quite right to me. The mechanism that Caruso et al. Thought was responsible for this is exactly that, though. People getting more emotional about
the future possibilities rather than things that have already happened, firmly located in the past. I guess when people say the past is the past, they are indicating a kind of emotional distance from it. And that's probably healthy.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, it's a thing that people see therapists for, is constantly replaying their past over and over in their heads, not being able to let it be the past.
We know that, don't we? Yeah. It also ties in really well with something that temporal realist philosophers have been saying for a long time.
Do we like temporal realist philosophers? What's the official position?
They're fine.
They're fine, okay.
I think a lot of the baggage that temporal realist philosophers bring with them is baggage that I don't think they need to bring.
Right.
But I think it's a really interesting debate, and I always try and teach it.
Packing all your wet weather gear for southern Spain in August.
Yes.
Temporal realists.
Yes, right. That's what I would say. Here's a little bit of context to the wider debate. In the very early 20th century, it became very fashionable to become a temporal anti-realist.
Yes.
And this is often attributed solely to this guy called J.M.E. McTaggart, who I think it's 1908, he wrote this book called The Unreality of Time.
Weirdly, listeners, if you try and read it, you will also feel time is not real.
Yeah.
Because it will not be passing.
Tricky.
As far as you can tell.
It's always the thing that my undergraduates have the most trouble with when I do my philosophy of time intro course. The thing is, it's sort of impossible to do an intro course to the philosophy of time without having the McTaggart.
Come on then, do it for us now. Let's save all these undergraduates from reading the book.
Okay.
Summarise the basic idea.
Okay, so
time is not real because
McTaggart thinks that in order to have time, you've got to have change. Like, change is a precondition for the existence of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can have that, McTaggart.
Well, I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, let's give him that. Let's give him that, yeah, for now.
I'm giving it to him because without change, time is meaningless.
Maybe.
If I show you a video where nothing is moving, you can't tell if it's a freeze frame or if nothing's moving.
Yeah. There's this really good Robin Lepoy-Devin article which talks about a changeless world. So imagine a possible world that is completely changeless. And it remains changeless because it's been changeless before. So there's still causal structure that you can attribute to this changeless world. And if there's causal structure, there's time, probably. There's also this really good article by a guy called Sidney Shoemaker. He's a philosopher. He's not a guy. Sorry, I keep saying guy.
If they're a philosopher, it's probably pronounced Guy. Anyway, they're probably French.
True. He says, well, imagine you had these local freezes. I'll probably talk about this in another episode, but now you've got me going. I want to talk about it.
Classic superhero power. I can freeze time around me and only I can move.
Yes, but everything in a particular local region freezes, let's say every 5 years. And then another one, it's every 4 years. And in another year, it's every 3 years. Now that means, because there are multiples of all three numbers, it would be more rational to assume that the whole world freezes for a particular amount of time than those overlapping 3-zone freezes just get skipped.
Yeah.
So I think it's more reasonable to say that there's time without change than...
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I think McTaggart's going somewhere interesting, so I'm going to let him have it.
I agree. It's also his only his first premise, so let's absolutely let him have this one. Okay, cool. There are 3 different ways that I could describe temporally ordered sequences.
Yep.
I can use past, present, future.
Yep.
Or I could use just the relations earlier than or later than.
Yep.
Or I could just use an ordering. The Big Bang happens, and then the dinosaur happens, and then the Tudors happen, and then this podcast happened.
That's roughly my understanding of history.
Yeah, me too, me too.
Having not done GCSE history, I do have thousands of years where I have no idea what anyone was doing. I'm
pretty sure the Tudors happened at some point before this, and between the dinosaurs.
Well, British history goes Romans, then nothing. Then 1066, then nothing. Then Tudors, then nothing. Then the First World War.
That's what happened, right? Yeah. Okay.
That's how history's taught.
But without the past, present, and future, or before and later, this ordering doesn't really have a direction, right? You could say it front to back and back to front, and they're both as meaningful. Okay, so past,
dinosaurs and Tudors just become points on a plane.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how I want you to think about it. So past, present, and future, those are called the A properties, the A series. That's a way of ordering things in a temporal way. Before than, later than, those are called the B series relations. And then the sequence is called the C series. McTaggart says that the only way that you get genuine change is by using the A series, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
If you were, I think the example that McTaggart uses is Queen Anne's death. It might be a different queen, but there's a death of Queen Anne, and it's always the case that it was before this podcast and after the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Before the universe began, it was the case that Queen Anne died after the dinosaurs and before this podcast. If you assume that the block universe is real, which please do for a bit.
Okay, we're giving him a lot now.
But wherever you are, you've got those two relations. So two relations obtain. The same with the sequence, right? There's no change in the sequence. Wherever you are on the plane, the other points on the plane are ordered in the same way.
Yeah.
However, if you use the beautiful A series properties, past, present, and future, at the very beginning of the universe, Queen Anne's death is in the future. And then if you wait a little bit, it's happening, it's in the present. And then if you wait a little bit, it's in the past. And then it gets more distantly past. Unclear if that's like a genuine change. McTaggart kind of seems to think that it is. I could give him that as well. So if you want to have time, and time requires change, then time requires the A series properties.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the A series properties are contradictory, and trying to get yourself out of a contradiction in asserting the A series properties of past, present, and future, you generate this infinite regress. Okay, so let me see if I can wheedle the answer that I try to get out of my students.
I mean, an infinite regress does sound very relaxing.
It does. Here's how you generate the infinite regress. You say, well, the past, present, and future properties are incompatible with one another. And yet the way that we are describing time requires that every event has all three of those properties, past, present, and future. So Queen Anne's death, the inauguration of this podcast, the death of the last dinosaur, cry.
Dinosaurs are still alive, listeners. They're called birds.
Well, when global warming kills all the birds, then cry. Cry then, cry now, cry eternally, perhaps. In any case, there's a response that people often make when I say every event has got to have all three properties. And that can't be, because they're kind of mutually contradictory. If something's past, it can't be present or future. If something's future, it can't be present or past, etc. What do you think people often say?
They say they have the properties at different points in time.
Yes, exactly. But then you, the bastard philosopher, respond, well, you're using time in order to explain time. Time is the thing that we were trying to explain in the first place. If you've got to invoke the existence of time in order to explain how time works, that's an infinite regress. So that's your infinite regress.
So is it an infinite regress? Because it just feels like a trick.
Well, it probably is. But here is how I explain it to my students.
I've been led down a little path and then shot in the head rather than an infinite regress. You know?
So much of philosophy is that, I think.
Listeners, don't go down the path with a philosopher. That's my main advice. You're going to get shot in the head at the end of it.
If someone starts asking you leading questions like, now what do you think is bigger, a person or a city? Know that they're about to set you up for being shot in the head.
Yeah, I mean, listeners, it's security advice. I went to a lecture by someone who teaches like security and things, and his thing was, in the movies, people pull a gun on someone in the street and they say, get in the car. Don't get in the car. Don't go down the alleyway.
Yeah.
The first place they've pulled the gun on you is the place you start screaming.
Yeah.
Help, help. This person's got a gun. Help, help. Because even if they shoot you there, it won't be as bad as being executed in the alleyway or wherever they're taking you.
Yeah, they might make you dig your own grave first. I don't want to dig my own grave.
Yeah, I've noticed in movies it's a magic thing that you point a gun at someone and they immediately do everything you say. I don't think in real life we would do that.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Here's the kind of explanation that we like in philosophy and science and in a lot of disciplines. We like reductive explanations. Yeah. I want to be able to break the complicated thing down into its constituent parts, see how they work together, and then all I have to do is explain how the constituent parts work.
Yeah.
I say all I have to do, that's usually quite a complicated thing in itself, but it's a satisfying kind of explanation. What we've got here is an attempt at a reductive explanation. We've got this complicated thing, which is time. Well, McTaggart says that you need change. He says that in order to get both your kind of temporal structure and change, you need both the C series and the A series. Yep. The C series isn't problematic. I'm not going to worry too much about the C series, but the A series seems to be problematic because when you drill down into it, the C series requires you to have time to explain why it's not a problematic concept. Yeah. So like you break down time into A series and C series, and you break the A series down into past, present, and future. But then you see that in order to explain how events have past, present, and future, you need the notion of different time. But then how do I explain different time? Well, I break different time into A series and C series, and then I see that A series is past, present, and future. How do I explain the apparent contradiction? Well, I invoke time, and then it's just this infinite layer cake of invoking time eventually. Yeah, I understand. So either time's not real or time is so fundamental it can't be broken down and explained. Well, he does consider this. He says, well, maybe we're fine with there being a self-coherent circular explanation for time because maybe it's just one of those things like maybe your explanation of God is circular, but it's that kind of foundational circle upon which everything else resides, or maybe love or something like that could be circularly explained, or maybe it's just a brute fact of the universe. But McTaggart doesn't like that. Yeah, listeners, get a piece of graph paper and a pen out and see if you can sort this thing out. I was thinking about good old Zeno's paradox as a classic walk down to the end of the path, get shot in the head. And I've realised Zeno's paradox is just, it's not really a paradox, it's just he's plotting a graph that's logarithmic on one axis and linear on the other. And if you make it logarithmic on both axes, it's just a straight line and it crosses the end. So all someone needed to do was invent log graph paper, and Zeno would have just been like, yeah, you got me, you're just tricking me. It's a straight line on log graph paper, listeners. Maybe we can reanimate him so that we can have that really satisfying dinner party with him. Like, by the way, cross line. Oh, look, it's a straight line. It crosses zero. Back to the afterlife you go, Zeno. Yeah, he's actually zero because that's what his idea is worth. Well, I the way that I respond to that to keep time real is to say, well, change just doesn't really work in the way that you think it works. But there are lots of different... Don't give him his first premise. This is another lesson of philosophy, listeners. When someone's starting you down the path, just don't refuse the first step. For time, you need change. No, you don't. Well, people often try and sneak the least controversial sounding premise into the very beginning so that you're kind of softened up. You've got to reread all of the premises. Attack the question, listeners. Well, people tend to attribute this fashion for temporal anti-realism solely to McTaggart, but actually lots of his contemporaries got in on the gig. It's kind of a 20s and 30s thing as well, isn't it? Yeah. Those weird party times. We've got Dadaism has arrived. You got flappers. Let's just do some weird stuff. Everybody's wearing those tight headbands with one feather in them. Of course you're going to think time isn't real. It's the 1930s. We had the terrible thing, First World War. No terrible thing's going to ever happen again. Let's do a bunch of absurdism and fun. It's the 1930s. Nothing bad is going to happen. Definitely. Yeah. But as you can imagine, the idea that time is just this illusion was contested in the strongest possible terms, and more recently by someone called Arthur Pryor, which I think is always a great name. Yeah, for a temporal realist. Beautiful. In an alternate universe, Arthur Past is writing a refutation of his work right now. Fantastic. Well, I think I might have mentioned the thank goodness that's over argument before on this podcast, but just to quickly re-summarize the thank goodness that's over argument, you've got... Say that you're really dreading something that's going to happen in the future, and then, it happens, and then it's in the past, and you say, well, thank goodness that's over. How do you explain those sorts of emotions without appealing to the notion of the past, present, and future? It seems really difficult. And there are lots of emotions that you seemingly can't make sense of without those A properties of past, present, and future, like looking forward to something, or regret, or arguably something that I've been thinking quite a lot about recently, which is forgiveness. That seems to be irreducibly temporal. I think it's a really interesting emotion. Although there's real-time forgiveness. Turn the other cheek. Yeah. That's forgiveness in the present. Yeah, that is forgiveness in the present. I mean, The experiential present, maybe. Maybe I'll have to think more about terminology.
I just want to throw that in there.
No, it's good. It's good. You keep me on my toes, Steve.
Well, that's Jesus keeping you on your toes.
He's on his toes on the water, hovering.
I think he's also on his toes because like proper shoes haven't been invented yet.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's walking weird.
True. So maybe this tendency to discount your emotions in the past and this tendency to emphasize the emotions of the future, maybe they're just symptomatic of this wider element of animal psychology, which is to have these tensed emotions that the temporal realists want to appeal to. And Paul Horwich suggests that having these tensed preferences makes sense from an evolutionary perspective.
Yep.
And you can kind of see why that would be the case. Causation is temporally asymmetric. You can affect things that are going to happen in the future. You can't affect things that have already happened in the past, except, if you've got backwards causation. And in philosophy, one of the big metaphysical principles is that backwards causation isn't allowed, except for, of course, in cases of time travel.
Yeah, Tenet wants a word.
Yeah, Tenet does want a word. Tenet wants a huge word. But all of the animals, as far as I know, that live on Earth have evolved to live in linear time.
Yeah.
So you can't say, well, no, that adaptation wouldn't be particularly helpful during time travel situations.
That would be amazing, though, if you found like one species of ant, which it turns out were going backwards in time the whole time.
That would be fantastic.
That would be a brilliant
for that to be true
in a kid's animal book. The fireside wood ant travels backwards in time.
And how would that animal evolve, and what would the differences be, and would these temporal biases?
You mean how will that animal evolve? Because remember, it's coming backwards from the future.
Yeah, that's.
I've watched Tenet a lot, listeners. I can do this sort of thinking any moment.
You are batting them back with ease.
Yeah.
So you have a fair number of philosophers like Christopher Suhler and Craig Callender, and they argue...
Another amazing time
name. Actually, I didn't recognize that. Yeah, I think it's spelt like the word calendar as well.
Perfect.
So.
A literal Batman villain, Calendar Man, has arrived.
Or maybe there's an E at the end rather than an A.
Yeah, just to try and obscure the truth.
To lull you into a false sense of security. Yeah. Well, they argue that evolution selects for future bias. They say that it's much more likely that an organism will bring about evolutionarily beneficial state of affairs, like finding food or a mate, if they're wired up in such a way that these kind of future-directed behaviours are rewarded.
Yeah, I'm starving. Should I eat this banana? Yes, because then I won't be starving. I'm starving. Should I eat this banana? Who knows? Which of those is evolutionary beneficial?
If you marshal your attentional and effective resources on the past, as we know, people get therapy for if they're doing this too much, because it's something
Should I have eaten that banana?
Yeah, or should I have said that thing at the party? Yeah. Or should I have broken up with my ex? Those sorts of organisms tend not to be having a very good time.
Yeah, I was at a party last week and someone came up and said, "Hi, Steve," and I recognised them as the wrong person.
Happens.
And I have had to let that go. I did send an email saying, "Lovely to see you at the party," not mentioning that I'd misrecognised them as someone else. Just to be sure that I do know who you are now, but then after that, got to let it go. If they're angry about it, nothing I can do. Can't go back in the past and recognise them as the right person.
But I have a little bit of a thing about if you introduce yourself to someone and they say, "We've already met," I think, well, screw you then.
Yeah.
Go away.
Also, I have Steve has quick rules for everything. If I see someone and they look vaguely familiar, or even if we move in the same circles, I say, "Hi, I'm Steve. I think we might have met."
Very wise.
Yeah, puts it all on them.
I've introduced myself to a lot of people that I've already met before. And I do the whole eager shaking hand thing.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
You're more memorable than them. That's on them. That's not on you. They should be more memorable and interesting. Listeners, if you met Christabel, you would remember that you'd met Christabel. But if you are a generic male philosopher called Mark, I'm afraid you're not memorable.
I actually know so many Marks in philosophy.
Yeah, see? You're not memorable. Whereas Christabel, first of all, it's called Christabel, and you haven't met anyone else called that outside of fiction. And second,
unless you have, in which case I am deeply angry.
Yeah, and like Christabel's like quite a striking. You haven't met someone like Christabel. You'd be like, this magical being has appeared in my life. I remember Christabel. If you met me, you'd be like, I just can't place him.
I don't think that's true either.
All the Steve dads, I can't place him.
I'm pressing X to doubt. James Maclaurin and Heather Dyke, they also appeal to this evolutionary mechanism for explaining the discounting of past reminiscences. Like, they talk about the psychological potency of what's happened to you in your past, and they kind of explain that it's just not there for something where there's no risk.
Yeah.
Because whatever has happened to you in the past, it's not really presenting a risk. I suppose what you do with it presents a risk.
If you buried a bomb in your garden last week, that presents a risk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But the risk isn't in the past. The risk is in the future.
Exactly.
No, don't dig there. No. Go and plant the little tree over 6 feet to the right.
Oh, there's a really good film I think it's called No Other Choice. It's a Korean film. And yeah, basically he doesn't quite bury a bomb in his back garden. Oh, it's very good. You would like it.
But all I know about the plot is he doesn't bury a bomb in his back garden.
But he kind of does.
Okay, right.
All of this, I'm just reveling in the fact that I've seen a film and you haven't. It never happens on this podcast.
Imagine burying a time capsule, but all you put in it is a bomb. That's a real screw you to the future. Oh, let's find out what life was like in 2026.
They hated us.
Boom. It's just a note saying we hate the future.
Down with the future.
Listeners are like, isn't that Tenet backwards? Yes, it is Tenet backwards.
Well done. So all of this stuff about causal asymmetry and evolution seems to indicate that we do have a good reason to be future biased.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
To have the surgery in the past. Thank you very much, philosophy.
You're so welcome. But the weird thing is, human beings themselves don't tend to think that future bias is irrational, because remember what I said before about in-between persons, or rather than within-person studies. So Caruso et al. Show that we get rid of the bias whenever we become aware of it. So remember when you said that, oh, I would just give a £40 bottle of wine for past or future.
Yeah.
Well, that's how people answered in the study, right? If they're asked to give compensation for an event that is both in the past and in the future, if they're doing it sort of in the same breath, then they would say, well, of course I would give the same kind of bottle of wine, or of course I would ask for the same amount of money for this boring data entry job.
Yeah.
It's only when they were asked one or the other, future or past.
That's good though. When you find out you've got a bias, you should try and get rid of it. That's a good life lesson.
Yeah.
Like if you're setting up your sniper rifle, and you find, because I've been playing the game, and you find that it always shoots a foot to the right, you don't go on, guess I'll never hit anything then. What you do is you start aiming a foot to the left.
Indeed.
Get rid of it. When you know a bias, it's exactly right to get rid of it.
That sounded like a very ancient Greek coded example. They're often talking about...
They play a lot of Sniper Elite Resistance on the Xbox.
No, but remember the Stoics example of the archer... They love an archer, or they love a slingshot example. Yeah. I think that this is just the evolution of that. Maybe you are the evolution of a Stoic philosopher.
Yeah.
What Caruso et al. Said was, we have these biases, but we don't mindfully back them. And I'll give you another reason that you might think that future bias isn't rational after all.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes from a book written by Kristie Miller. It's called The Normative Status of Time Bias. And full disclosure, reading the first few chapters of her book formed most of the research that I did for this episode. She asks us to imagine that lives are like jackets on a rack. You can just pull one off and have a good look at it before deciding to put it on and live that life.
Yeah.
Now, tut, Steve, you have been late to the life shop. There are only 2 jackets left.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky for you, they're both pretty fine. They're both pretty much qualitatively identical, except for one thing. One has a 10-hour surgery on the 1st of October, and one has a 1-hour surgery on the 3rd of October. Otherwise, exactly the same.
Yeah, both those dates are in the future.
Yes, you're going to put the jacket on and then you are born into that life.
Okay.
Let's say you're before your life looking forwards.
Yeah.
Which do you choose?
The future is just the future.
Yes.
Right? Especially because good old ADHD brain, there are only 2 times, now and never. And anything in the future falls into the never pot. So, because that's a future Steve problem. But I'm going to give future Steve less of a problem. I'm going to take the 1-hour surgery later, because the fact it's later doesn't matter to me, because future, in my brain, future is just one thing.
I don't think that it should matter to you. I think something might occur to you maybe not necessarily to the ADHD brain, or maybe, I don't know, that on the 2nd of October, you will be regretting your decision to have not already had the surgery over by now. It might occur to you I should go for the less painful life overall because, everything is in the future now and I want a less painful future aggregate. But on the 2nd, I am going to wish that I'd had that surgery over and done with.
But on the 4th, I'm going to be looking back going, I'm glad I only had 1 hour of painful surgery instead of 10 hours of painful surgery.
Exactly. And this surgery, like all of the other surgeries that I will mention in this episode, you have to be awake for because it's one of those cooperative ones.
But for my crappy brain, the 4th of October is the 3rd of October, is the 2nd of October, is the 1st of October. They are all just in a blob.
That's why you can't be Zeno's paradoxed.
Yeah, they're all in the future. So I'm going to go for the short surgery. Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's the only rational response, right? And this consideration of how you might feel on the 2nd of October, that seems to only kind of stunt your ability to make these decisions in your rational self-interest.
Why is 2nd of October future Steve more important than 4th of October future Steve? He's not. They're all just future Steve.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
It's all his problem.
I think that's a really good point. And it seems that future bias is also going to rub up against our motivation to act in our best interest for other reasons. Has anyone ever put Newcomb's box problem to you, Steve?
No.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Because we are at the point of the episode where we have our demon.
Right.
He's called the predictor, but for all intents and purposes, he's a demon. I want you to imagine him as a demon. Yeah. Okay.
What can he predict?
Behavior. Really,
Not
really well.
lottery numbers, which would have been useful.
Well, he doesn't use his powers for good.
Ugh.
So maybe you don't want him to be able to predict too much.
All right.
Okay, so
it's always opposites world in Demon Land.
That's very
He's
true.
using it for his good.
A principle. A principle that we have established on this podcast. Okay, Newcomb asks you to imagine that you are on a game show and there are 2 boxes in front of you.
Yeah.
One is a transparent box and it contains $1,000.
Yeah.
The other one is an opaque box and it could contain $1 million.
Yeah.
All you have to do on this game show is to decide whether to take 1 box or 2 boxes.
What?
Yes, but there's a catch.
Okay.
The predictor is there. And the predictor has been studying you for a long time. He studies anyone that applies to be on this game show.
What a creep.
What a creep. He's not a good guy.
He's listened to every podcast.
Oh, well, he is a good guy. If he's reviewed on Apple Podcasts, maybe left a comment.
Listen, listeners, I'm all up for you. You should listen to this podcast. You can go back and listen to other podcasts I've done. The thing that is weird is the time I went on a first date and the person said, I've listened to 60 hours of your podcasts before this date. I'm seeing the predictor as that person now.
Yeah. They're the demon for sure.
Yeah, right. So what does the predictor say I'm going to do?
So the predictor predicts whether or not you will 1 box or 2 box. When people discuss this literature, 1 box / 2 box is like the verb that people use. Yeah. And they predict that if you 2 box, they will have left the opaque box empty. No £1 million. Yeah. So you walk away with £1,000 or dollars or whatever. Yeah. But they predict that if you only take 1 box, the opaque box, that would be the sensible box to take anyway, they will have left the $1 million / pounds in it. Do you take 2 boxes or do you 1 box?
Tell me about this predictor. So they can predict everything accurately.
So they predict the behaviour of people on this game show with a stunning accuracy. You don't know if they've ever been wrong. Maybe it's not perfect though.
I mean, if they can predict my behaviour, they already know if I'm going to 1 box or 2 box.
Yeah.
So I say to them, which one do I do then?
You can't talk to the predictor. They're a demon. They're like a malevolent, they're in like a big black cloak.
I'm still going to 2 box then.
You're still going to 2 box?
Well, I feel like they've given me some information that they're like, oh, if you take 1, it will be this. And if you take 2, it will be that. But I can't predict which one you're going to do. But like literally that's the whole point of you. So I'm still going to 2 box. I'm going to be like, this demon is insane and nonsensical. They're like, oh, I can predict everything apart from the only thing that matters. I'm still going to 2 box.
Well, they say that they can predict. Yeah, okay, cool. There's a lot of vitriol directed at the 1 boxes in philosophy and like decision theory and game theory.
I can see the 1 boxes point, right? Because $1,000 is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Right? As a game
it would
show
be quite
prize.
nice.
No, but if you've been on a game show and you won $1,000,
yeah.
Who cares? Always gamble. Always go double or quits. Always. Whereas $1 million, I could afford a 1-bedroom house in zone 4.
Oh, very nice.
Right. I was doing some training in Birmingham yesterday, and I was doing hypothetical examples of negotiation. And so, like, I was talking about your mortgage company and bringing in experts to help you negotiate. Because, you know, your mortgage company wanted to know if you're spending £500,000 on this flat. And I paused, I said, sorry, I'm in the West Midlands. If you're spending £500,000 on this mansion, I got a big laugh from the whole room.
Oh,
right, yeah.
Getting a grain from
I'm
me.
two-boxing.
Okay, cool. The reason I think that all of this vitriol gets directed towards the one boxes is because of this backwards causation thing, right? Like, it's already happened. You can't change whether the predictor put the money in the box or took the money away. It's not like there's nothing in the opaque box until you make your decision, or it's in this like weird superposition of both being empty and filled with $1 million until you make it collapse by making your choice. But then the one boxes reply that the two boxes just don't kind of get that in order to align yourself with being a one box person, you need to behave as the one box person would behave, and the best way to do that.
That sounds like arguments for crypto. Oh, if you don't think crypto is a great investment, you just don't understand it. No, I do understand it. I
agree. And my wonderful colleague Wes Wrigley explains it in the lecture like it's just this obvious thing. And I know I should be a two boxer, and I like to think that under those hot game show lights I would be a two boxer, but honestly, who knows? Maybe I would panic and be a one boxer. I might worry that the predictor could time travel, in which case backwards the embargo on backwards causation doesn't work.
I'm pretty sure that if the predictor could time travel, that would have been in the description of the predictor.
Okay. I don't know, I'm just very untrustworthy. Why are they so good at predicting things?
Well, they are only good at predicting things that don't make any sense. They can't predict the number one thing, which is which I would choose. If the predictor had said, I know you well, Steve, you will take the one box and there will be $1 million in it, I'll be like, brilliant, I'll have it. But they don't. They just predict something that doesn't help.
Well, they predict it, they just don't tell you.
Wait, so I don't even know their predictions?
You don't know their predictions?
Oh, then I two box instantly.
Okay.
They are irrelevant to me.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, they're isolated from the causal chain that you should care about right now.
They're gambling from the sidelines.
Yeah. You don't get any interaction with the predictor. Let me give you a slightly revised version of this Newcomb's box problem, and let me show you why it interacts with this future bias thing. So this is from Christian Tarsney, and he asks us to imagine that the predictor grows bored.
Good, because I'm bored of the predictor already.
With the limited amount of misery that he can dole out on this game show,
because I never interact with him.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, he likes getting in people's head. He's a bit of a Mephistopheles-like character, or a Loki-like character. Actually, in Tarsney's example, he's a lot more malicious. He instead opts to kidnap people, and he likes to torture them via administering lots of electric shocks. Yep. Imagine that you've been kidnapped by the predictor, and you have been subjected to what you have registered as a great many electric shocks. Yeah. It's very important that you haven't been counting the electric shocks.
Just so you know, during the torture, at all times, I'm shouting, how the hell is this prediction?
Well, one day, after quite a drawn-out and painful experience in his torture compound, the predictor says, I'm going to let you go.
He's had quite a painful experience, which is my commentary on his torture.
I think you would be like, you would make yourself difficult to kidnap, not physically, but emotionally.
Yeah, you gotta gag me. You're gonna torture or kidnap me. I am extremely annoying. Ask anyone who ever tried to make me walk somewhere outside I didn't want to go.
But imagine that the predictor has a little chat with you before you leave, and he says, well, you could go right now, or, and he hands you a button, you could shock yourself one last time for old time's sake. I'm going to give you a reason that you think that you should shock yourself.
How is the predictor getting this in between me trying to sell him branding consultancy? I'm like, I just feel like the whole naming structure of your brand is wrong.
The predictor? I think that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, except that he don't predict nothing. He just tortures me.
Well, he has predicted something.
Have you thought of calling yourself Shocky Shockerson? The pain electric monster.
No, he has predicted something.
What's he predicted?
He's predicted whether or not you would choose to voluntarily give yourself this one last shot.
Yeah, what's he predicted?
And he's not telling you what he's predicted. He doesn't like telling people what he's predicted. Yeah. He says, if I predicted that you would voluntarily undergo this last shock, I've only given you 10,000 shocks.
Yeah.
But if I predicted that you would just walk away, I gave you 10,005 shocks.
Yeah.
Which do you choose?
I'm throwing the box at him. There's no way I'm giving myself one extra shock. The only reason I would do it would be to prove how hard I am.
Yeah, no.
Like Batman being tortured by Darkseid's minions in an alternate future where Batman's been strapped into a machine of like infinite torture for 20 years. And and he's covered in scar tissue head to toe. But the only thing that seems to have happened is that he's driven the torturer mad through his ability to take pain. So like the only way I would shock myself would be to be like, you know, those 10,000 shocks you gave me, they're nothing. And then give myself another one and be like, I can take it.
Yeah, that's baller.
But I'm not Batman. I am a suburban father of two. So if he said, do you want to give yourself one more shock for old time's sake? I would throw the box at him. Like, no, obviously not. What you've given me, and I will throw this box at you. And also 10,000 shocks and 10,005 shocks is the same.
Well, it would be 10,001 shocks because you would be giving yourself that extra shock.
Yeah. But in the shocking he's given me, I'm pretty sure I wasn't counting because it hurt that much.
No. I think you would be unable to. Also, 10,000 is really difficult to count too.
Yeah. I've had that amount of pain. I'm now present me, and I can have one shock or 0 shocks. I'm having 0 shocks, thanks.
I think why?
And I throw the box at his head.
I think that's probably more out of frustration than out of future bias.
Yeah.
The way that you're telling it.
Yeah, there's no future bias in what I'm saying. I am purely in the now. I don't want to shock myself, thanks.
I see.
Are there people that shock themselves in this instance?
Well, if you one box, logically you should shock yourself.
I don't think even one boxers are that mentally damaged.
Well, suppose that you had chosen to one box, and
I think
the fact that you chose
to
two box makes it more difficult.
I can see reasons to one box, short of being in Hellraiser and thinking pain is pleasure. I can't see a reason to be like, oh yeah, I'll have another.
I think
just one, is it? Oh yeah, of course.
I think. Well, remember we were worried that surgery or going under general anesthetic doesn't actually inoculate you from the pain of surgery. I think the reasoning behind giving yourself that one extra shock kind of coheres because you want life to have overall aggregate of less pains and more pleasures. So suppose you 100,000% believe that the predictor knows you perfectly. They've got this stunningly accurate way of predicting things, and you would like, all things considered, for your life to pass with the fewest number of electric shocks as possible. So you do it to ensure that you have fewer shocks. I know that sounds insane. Maybe.
No, I get it. So if I press this button to give myself one shock, it will magically erase 5 shocks from my past.
Yeah, you've sort of got to believe that, kind of.
I don't care about past shocks.
Yeah.
Past shocks are a past Steve problem.
Yeah.
I'm present Steve. Present Steve does not want any more zaps.
I think that's
in my
so
head,
fair.
I'm getting zapped in the balls as well, listeners, just to make it as painful as possible, or zapped in the nips.
Yeah, the predictor is a sick pervert.
It's pretty gruesome, like Cold War era.
I'm imagining like the Predator on Alien versus Predator, or maybe the alien from Alien versus Predator, or maybe the alien from Alien, Christabel. But they've got a Russian accent.
Why are you going to Alien versus Predator for the example of? I think Alien vs. Predator 2 had the tagline, whoever wins, we lose. And you lose by watching the movie, listeners.
I've not actually watched the Alien vs. Predator, but I've watched each show independently. Like I've watched the Alien movies and the Predator movie.
The Alien from Alien, yeah. Predator and Predator, fine.
You know,
Alien
get
vs.
in
Predator,
the chopper.
I'm pretty sure is not canonical at this point. They're so bad.
Okay, so now we're thoroughly confused about future bias. Let's go through some other biases.
Predictors confused because I just threw a box at their head and given them a mild concussion.
I think they deserve it after everything you've been through, Steve. Yeah. 10,000 shocks to the balls, or 10,005.
I can take it.
Okay,
I have to if I die halfway through, the predictor doesn't get to do the thing.
No, they don't get to do the thing. Yeah. And they would be so sad.
What doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. By producing a thick layer of electrode-resistant hard skin over my balls.
Let's talk about some temporal biases that we might think are in tension or just don't causally interact with the save the best for last principle. Let's talk about temporal location bias. This is where you have a particular time and you either really emphasize the positively or negatively valenced experiences that you have at that particular time, or you completely discount them.
Right.
Now, Derek Parfit talks a lot about this in, I think, like an unnecessarily glib manner. He talks about being Tuesday indifferent. So he says, imagine you just don't care about the quality of experience that you have on Tuesdays. So you book all of your painful dental appointments for them, and you just make sure that you don't accidentally run into anything pleasurable on a Tuesday, because it just doesn't matter to you. It's like nothing had happened.
Yeah, living for the weekend.
Yeah.
We don't care what happens Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
We're living for the weekend.
Yeah, but that's kind of sad. Isn't that a kind of sad way to live life?
I mean, back in my early 20s, my mate said to me, anyone who's living for the weekend just has a shit job. They should quit.
Yeah.
Do something else.
It's a difficult economy to make that into a normative principle, right? Because, it's difficult to get a job at the moment. But yeah.
I would encourage you, no matter how crap your job, to find ways that moments of it give you pleasure.
Yeah, even if it's just like taking really long loo breaks on the company dime.
Stick it to the man somehow. Spit in a burger.
Yeah. Play Candy Crush on the loo for...
Have in-jokes with your colleagues.
Yeah, camaraderie.
I was teaching literally dentists how to make jokes at work. And one of the reasons is to build camaraderie with your colleagues.
Yeah. My dentists are all intimidatingly beautiful. I wish they would crack some more jokes.
Well, no, but what it means is they all have a great time at work because they just look at each other. No matter how bad the work they're doing, they're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like having mobile oil paintings just all around you all the time.
But also, an unrequited work crush, listeners, is a good way of enjoying something at work, no matter how crap your job.
Yeah, it's a good way of wasting time.
Don't requite it, because that gets messy and awkward and makes your job terrible. You need an unrequited work crush.
Oh, yeah, it sucks once it gets requited. Avoid that at all costs.
I mean, depending on the circumstances, it might suck while it's being requited.
I suppose...
Sorry, listeners.
Moving on.
Sorry, Christabel. Sorry, listeners.
That's all right. I think I agree with Parfit when it comes to discounting the quality of experiences that you have on a particular time. But I was thinking about what I think is quite a reasonable, or at least not unreasonable, preference to have nice things happen to you on your birthday.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything...
Retirement's another good example. People are like, I'm putting up with all of this because the only time I really care about is when I retire, I'll have a great time.
Save the best till last. Maybe, actually, I did not think about this, but maybe temporal location bias is sort of relevant to saving the best till last. Okay, cool. So there is some causal interaction.
But I think with retirement, saving the best till last is poor resource management. If you've ever played one of those games where it's like a resource management game, and the key is to do really boring grinding early on, and you build up so many resources that the rest of the game becomes easy, and then the rest of the game's kind of boring because your character's too leveled up or your city is too well developed, and then you finish the game with loads and loads of resources, and it's like, oh, I could have actually just spent these resources earlier in the game and made it less grindy. I think that retirement example of saving up everything just means you've not had as much fun as you could have had all the way through.
Well, what if you shuffle off this mortal coil as well on your last day of work?
Yeah, ADHD diagnosis knocks 7 years off your life expectancy.
Oh, well, yeah. Allocate those resources.
Yeah.
Also, the way that I play the game, I never use the resources that I build up. I get really anxious about what if I need this shoe that allows me to cast the light spell once, even though I know how to do the light spell. I don't think it would be unreasonable to keep bad news from someone if you happen to learn that bad news on their birthday.
Totally.
Assuming that person couldn't help mitigate the bad news.
Parents, we keep bad news from kids all the time because we don't want to spoil if they're having a great day, we'll tell them that their uncle is sick or whatever. We won't tell them the second we know.
Yeah.
We'll hold it till the party's finished and they have a lovely party day, and then the next day we'll sit them down and tell them that their uncle's ill.
And I don't think there's anything irrational about that. I think there's something really reasonable about it.
It's news management.
So I don't really like the way that Parfit talks about temporal location bias. I think, tut Parfit, maybe think more about that.
I want to know how much Parfit has saved for retirement. Are these philosophers living their values?
Oh, they never live their values, Steve. That's the second big rule of philosophy. Don't die and don't expect them to live their values.
We found that antinatalist who's got no kids.
That's
living
true.
his values.
And a lot of the environmental ethicists are really vegetarians.
Right.
They're actually, a lot of them are vegans, in fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you teach?
Moving on. The second of the temporal biases that I don't think has a lot to do with this principle of saving the best till last is near bias.
Yeah.
So this is just the bias for positive states of affairs to be located closer to you temporally, and for bad things to be in the distant past or future.
100%.
And you can be retrospectively or prospectively biased, near biased. So if you're retrospectively near biased, then you prefer your recent past to be nice rather than nasty, and your past to be nasty rather than nice. Well, I mean, ideally you'd have a perfect life all the way through, right? But if you've got a bad thing in your past and a good thing in your past, if you're retrospectively near biased, then you would prefer for the good thing to have happened more recently.
Yeah.
Reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
It is a fairly philosophically and I think psychologically under-researched bias, because I think when people say near bias, they mean prospectively near biased, which is like, I would like for pleasant things to be in my immediate future, but for unpleasant things to be as far away in the future as I can possibly make them.
Yeah. Death.
Death.
That can go as far away in the future as possible, please.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, once you have died, you don't have any more future. So it's kind of tautologous.
What are you talking about? I'm an infinite worm.
Sorry. I forget that you're an infinite worm.
You taught me I was an infinite worm.
I did.
How did you forget?
I did.
Although, listeners, it's more about infinite starfishes now.
That's very true.
We've been thinking a lot about it.
We have. I really like the infinite starfishes. But near bias is the opposite of saving the best till last, right? It's eating your potatoes first and leaving all of the stinky vegetables for the end of the meal. I guess it's just delaying the inevitable, I suppose.
Delaying the inevitable is a good thing to do. It's inevitable, so I can't stop it. So the only thing I can do is delay it as much as possible.
But what about swallowing the frog? I want to eat the frog.
Right. So there's three people in this discussion, and there's Steve. There's past Steve. Fuck him. Whatever he did, who cares? And there's future Steve. His problems are his problems. I'm very like whatever the term was. I'm very much like now. Near bias, massively. Yeah.
Or you're present biased, I guess, because it's a slightly different thing to be present biased than near biased.
Yeah. But one of the other rules that we have in the ADHD world is future me is an idiot.
Yes.
So one of the things we have to plan for is there's no point going, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll be able to do that because future you is an idiot. And you've got to like, if he has to remember to pick something up on the way out the house tomorrow, you put it by the door today while you remember, because future you is an idiot.
You mention this principle to me every time you remind me in a way that you think I might be patronized by your reminding me, oh, we have that thing tomorrow, remember. It's never patronizing, and I think it's such a good rule. Nobody ever minds a reminder. Or if they do, then they're not me.
Listeners, I don't do it as a reminder, by the way. One of the things I've learned is to phrase reminders as questions. So it looks like you're seeking information. So I would send the message, oh, what are we doing on the podcast tomorrow?
Smart. Very well done. Yeah, that's just good management, I think.
Or you make it an affirmation. Really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Oh, I mean my affirmations.
No, but like, I mean it, but it's also I would never send a remember that you're doing this. I will always phrase it in one of those two things. Either I'm seeking information or I'm complimenting you. But hidden in there is a reminder that we're doing the thing.
No, I mean, it is just good management. So you might think, well, near bias is just one of these irrational things that we have. But there might be some good philosophical reasons for being near biased. People do change a lot throughout their lives. And you've already kind of said, like, well, fuck past Steve. Let's not worry too much about future Steve. We care about the present you. Having yourself split into these three variations, I think, is one way of doing it. Just denying that the self persists is another way of doing it. The continuation of selfhood is this very weird and contested thing in philosophy.
Yeah, I don't think I have it. Sometimes I come across a situation that I've clearly set up for myself. I'm like, fuck you. Why did you put that there? Why did you buy that? Why did you? You knew you were going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, there are some things, though. If something is in the future, and then I know it's going to be quite difficult, and I've got to prepare quite hard for it, after it happens, I sort of think, well, what now? I didn't really expect for for us to get through that. I hadn't really planned this far, and I'd been planning everything up until about now, and I feel very kind of unselfed. Very strange. But remember that the Buddhists have this leading doctrine of an Atman or anatta, which means that there's no persisting self. Or you've got someone like Galen Strawson. And I wonder if this would really resonate with you, Steve, from some of the stuff that you've been saying on this episode and also kind of in life. He says that the self is episodic.
Yeah.
You have these like phases, and maybe they're all kind of similar to each other, sort of, but there's actually no identifiable, like numerically identical person that kind of persists through all of them. They're kind of like David Bowie or Prince or Taylor Swift's eras.
Yeah. I was in a band for a while. I was mad for all of that, and then I stopped, and then I don't do it anymore. And then I was really into being a comedian and comedy law and comedy. And so I still tell jokes, listeners, but I'm not like, oh, there's this good gig, that good gig. I care about that thing. The politics of comedy is blah, 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 blah. I definitely have phases.
I think that's healthy.
I'm deep in the wholesome dad phase.
Good. I like this phase. I'm glad that we met at the phases that we are currently at. So if there's no singular one identifiable person that runs through all of this.
You were a literal child in some of the phases I've
just
been describing.
That's very true. Yeah. But if we want to reap our fruits of our labor, right, then we want to make sure that it's us that's reaping them. So if I ensure that someone temporally very close to me is reaping the fruits of my labor, well, there's a better chance that it is actually me.
Yeah.
Because if I have a 10-year plan, who knows? Maybe it's someone that walks like me and talks like me.
So 10-year you might not want that thing.
Yeah, likely. I change a lot.
Yeah, you ordered a really expensive custom-made guitar. It takes 2 years to get delivered. And you've been sacked from your band by the time it arrives.
Yeah, and now it's played by the artist formerly known as Steve Cross, but not bona fide.
Just sitting in a case under a bed.
Yeah, and lots of resentment.
Listeners, it's a real guitar.
Oh. So whether near bias is rational or not, it kind of clearly goes against this idea of saving the best for last. I think you've actually got to kind of rationally work to suppress your near bias in order to fully internalize this inclination to save the best to last. I think it's cognitively quite a sophisticated thing that we're able to do. And it kind of requires you to think about the future and the future you and the feelings that they are likely to have in this sort of prescient way. Preston Green and Megan Sullivan use an example that I've slightly altered to kind of fit more with your life. Imagine you're in charge of two siblings.
Right. I don't need to imagine.
Exactly. And imagine that you bought them a toy and they both really love this toy. It's impossible to buy them a second one. And they can only play with the toy.
This is, I'm holding a thing that we only have one of, and they both want it all the time.
Right. And they can only have it one at a time.
Yeah.
And so imagine that you institute a rule like sibling A gets to play with the toy for 10 minutes and then sibling B gets to play with the toy for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, imagine that sibling A is near biased but not future biased. So they will always choose to play with the toy first.
Yep.
But sibling B, maybe they're a little bit near biased, but they're mostly future biased. They have this like strong future bias. And they perform this quite complicated, I think, cognitive process of working out, well, in 10 minutes, I will resent myself and my sibling because I will want to play with the toy. It will be in my past rather than my future, so I will discount the positively valenced experience that I have just had, and I will look at my sibling and I will know that they have this positively valenced experience in their future. I'm going to be having a hard time. However, in 20 minutes, if I pick the option to have it second, I'm not going to feel that resentment because we'll both be in a sort of equal position of having positively valenced experiences in our past. Mm-hmm. So I know that sounds like, because I've used the kind of philosophical words to describe that thought process, but I think that's genuinely what's happening when someone saves the best to last. But can you see now why I think like you've got to really work to discipline yourself to repress near bias in order to fully get this saving the best to last kind of thing. But I think it's not just near bias that you have to suppress. It's also this other bias that I've already mentioned, present bias. Just the bias for things, good things to be happening right now, bad things to be happening at any other time than now. And you might think that present bias is just this wholly unreasonable thing to have. And that you might think maybe just it's sort of the rational person's duty to suppress the want to have nice things happening now and bad things to be happening not now. But it's not actually clear that it always is going to work that way. I mean, yes, something like saving money for retirement, we've already discussed. You can't do that if you're strongly present biased, but you might want a little bit of present bias in the mix.
Well, there's a trick to present biasing it, which is to have rules. And then in the present, I get the pleasure of having fulfilled the rules I set myself. So you have a percentage of your income goes into your retirement funds, and you are like, I am a good person in this moment because I have followed the 5% rule or the 10% rule, which I set myself, and I'm very happy that I did that. So there's like tricks to making future goods actually feel like present goods.
I'm really struggling with that at the moment. I feel like the enjoyable things that I'm having at the moment are unearned because I haven't finished enough of my thesis. I need to do a big chunk of thesis.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You do need to finish your thesis.
Yeah, I know.
Because one of the things I'm holding out to you is the future episode.
Yeah.
What's it like to
It's
pass
gonna
your
feel so good.
Because I'll get my kids to ask that straight away. What's it like to have got your PhD?
And it's just me for 41
how good
minutes.
that episode's going to be.
And the phenomenal character of being a doctor. Yeah.
Well, and just the joy of having gone through it all. I'm glad that's over with.
Thank goodness that's over, Arthur Pryor.
So you can look forward to that episode.
Yeah.
You won't do any prep for it. Because
Yeah.
your prep is just your life.
That's true. I've been prepping.
Think of the joy of a
years.
zero prep episode that is all about you.
That does sound pretty good, Steve.
Right, see? Holding that out. Little carrot on a stick. Chase it.
Well,
Chase the
if
carrot.
I had something that Preston Green and Megan Sullivan call absolute future bias, then I would have no problem with this, right? Because maybe I would have a problem with this. Say I discounted completely all of the experiences that I've had in my past. It's like I never had them.
Yep.
They don't really, maybe I remember them, but they don't leave a sort of hedonic imprint.
Magic therapy.
Magic therapy. You'll regret choosing to have any pleasurable experiences that you could have delayed for longer than you chose to. So say that you have a scoop of ice cream and you are allowed to eat it, and you know that it's lying on a flat plate outside of the freezer just waiting for you to eat it, and it will have completely ran off the plate in 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It'll completely have dripped off. But you might take yourself to have reasons to delay eating it for maybe even 59 minutes, like just so long as there's a sort of marginal utility in eating the ice cream. Because as soon as you eat it, it's like it never happened. It's completely worthless to you, that experience.
Yeah.
And given that animal life kind of proliferates with these diminishing returns cases, you know, you've got ice cream melting, cake goes stale, competitors steal the food that's been lying around for too long, meat rots, vegetables rot. It seems like being absolutely future biased with no present bias whatsoever is going to really screw you over. It's called the meager returns problem.
People do this. There's people who live seemingly very miserable lives because they're so obsessed with like retiring at 50. I only ramen every day. I save every penny. I invest in this because my big thing in my life is to retire at 50. I'm now 32.
Yeah, it's not the life I'm living.
Nope.
Maybe I should be thinking more about my retirement. But
Well, with the ice cream and all of those things, one of the things you have to teach kids is there's always more ice cream. There's always another TV show. There's always another. You are first world kids, right? This is abundance. There's always more Haribo in the shop.
yeah, you can't be working on the assumption that the good thing that you have now will never be. Oh, can you? I don't know.
So even if you have the good thing now, and then a minute later you don't feel the benefits of the good thing, you don't enjoy the memory, you just get another good thing.
Yeah. But I think there's also a sense
6
of
Calipos in my freezer.
Ooh. Yeah, I think present bias has got to be active in the process of carpe diem, right?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be one of the things at least that allows you to do that. Your life is made up of lots of presents. You don't live in the future or the past, you live in the now. I sound like an atheist.
But leave yourselves presence in the future, listeners, but don't do it at the cost of presence now.
Or maybe do it to a degree at the cost of presents now.
Yeah, eat the cake, but make sure you've got enough money to buy another cake tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of how I want to wrap up the episode, right? Because I don't think I can give a universal one-size-fits-all answer to, are any of these biases rational? Or, is saving the best till last rational? Or is carpe diem rational? Or is eating the frog rational? Swallowing the frog, is that rational? I always feel really virtuous when I manage to save the best till last, especially when it's pizza and I've saved my cheesiest slice. Everybody else is just looking at my mozzarella-y slice, and they're all just nibbling on their crusts.
It's always another pizza, listeners.
Yeah.
Literally got a pizza oven.
Yeah, well, that's told me. But maybe even the future bias, which we tend to hold up as rational, is kind of a bias in the pejorative sense of the word. Like, it could do you genuine harm if all you care about is the pleasures of a future that kind of never comes.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give the very boring answer of just appealing to the virtue ethicist's notion of temperance being the best of all of the virtues. You've got to find the Aristotelian mean of, yeah, I'm future biased, but I've got a little bit of present bias in there. I've got a little bit of near bias in there, and that kind of helps me to navigate this irreducibly temporal existence that I've been thrust into. I think being radically biased in any of these ways is going to force you into living a life that just isn't flourishing. Because maybe there are some DMs that shouldn't be carped. Maybe there are some bests that just won't stick around for last. Maybe there are some frogs that are best eaten on a little evening dinner, maybe by twilight. Delicious.
Have you ever eaten frog?
Yes, in France.
Is it kind to eat a frog?
No, it's not, Steve. Well, I included lots of time travel in this episode. I also included your favourite things, which are torture and demons. And I see that you included your actual favourite thing, which is vegetarianism. Well, I think we've done extremely well.
We did pizza and ice cream.
We did do pizza and ice cream.
They didn't get on the favourite things list. Right, listeners, here's my advice. It's nice to have nice things in the future. It's nice to have things now. Don't worry about the past. And yeah, there's always another Magnum. There's loads of them in the shop. Don't worry that when you finish your Magnum will be gone forever, because I promise you there's another identical Magnum.
Abundance mindset is a beautiful thing. Yeah. Have a beautiful, abundant week, listeners.
And listeners, this episode will come out 4 weeks after we record it. There's some future bias for you.
Oh.